Hey, it's Teapot, and I'm back in Leaves, and we left off with the beginning of Chapter 3. Well, no, we just finished Chapter 2. We're starting Chapter 3 this very second. I went to school on Monday. Nobody, not the school officials, not the teachers, not my class representative, said a word about my unexcused absence on Friday. At times like this, it was hard for me to keep believing that high school education was indeed mandatory. And it was hard for me to keep believing that I was anything other than an ordinary person living an ordinary life in an ordinary society. One of my class buddies came and slapped me on the back to congratulate me for scoring a bunch this weekend. Other than that, no one even seemed to realize I was there. Well, it wasn't as if I wanted anyone to notice me in the first place, but still, I couldn't help but feel a little lonely inside. I lit up a smoke. I'd probably gone through an entire pack already today. The fumes were everywhere in my empty, whitewashed apartment. Smog. My smog. Appearing right on schedule whenever my heart was tired and my soul was weary. An atmospheric phenomenon most hazardous to your health. That was loud to stop. I heard someone ring the doorbell. It seemed a bit hesitant. I crushed the cigarette in a dish that had some water in it, and then heaved myself onto my feet. I felt heavy. I walked down the hall towards the entranceway, taking the opportunity to turn on the fan while I was at it. Then I opened the door without bothering to check who it was. Is it that clone? Nope. Ah, what a surprise you are here. Good day to you, Matsuri said casually, as if it was the most natural thing in the world for her to be here. She was holding her key to my apartment in her right hand, so perhaps she really did think I wouldn't be here. May I, Matsuri intoned politely, come in? Excuse me. If you don't mind smelling cigarette smoke, be my guest, I replied, stepping aside. Her voice was flat. Oh, that is no consequence. I'm quite used to it by now. Used to it? I asked dubiously. What, don't tell me you smoke as well. To which she merely shook her head expressionlessly. After silence, she said, It's simply that my father is a heavy smoker. That is all. Besides, I do not smoke. I do not think I will ever need to depend on something so exogenous to me. Well, if it's okay with you, I responded with a shrug. Please, be my guest. By the time we made our way to the living room, the powerful and noisy ventilation fan had already sucked away most of the smoke. Matsuri neatly placed her backpack on the floor as I sat down, and then sat across from me. Is it not hot? She asked. What is? I shot back. This room, I mean, she intoned flatly. I'll shut up in the middle of summer like a sauna. It was only then that I noticed that my brow was beaded with sweat and that there was a distinct heat haze surrounding the metallic portions of my windowsills. I wiped off my head with the towel and I flicked on the air conditioner. It started up with a cough for spitting a bit of leftover cigarette smoke. At least it was getting cooler. The currents of air started circulating. Every so often, Matsuri's skirt rustled or her hair shimmered when a gust passed through. She looked impossibly elegant. I grabbed a bottle of lemon-lime soda from the refrigerator. Out of the freezer, I dug out a tray of ice cubes I'd prepared for just an occasion like this. I got out 2 cups, the same ones from last time actually. Put the ice in them, poured in the soda. And when I came walking back to Matsuri with the 2 cups in my hands, the ice cubes were tinkling against the glass of the cups like so many little wind chimes. Thank you, Matsuri nodded courteously. This will be wonderful. Then she gently took the preferred cup. I sat back in my chair and took a swig of the soda. It was refreshingly cool and delicious. It made me realize how my dry mouth had been this entire time. You sure you're okay with playing hooky? I asked after that. If it makes you feel better, Matsuri answered nonchalantly. Please think of today as an academic holiday for my school, founding day or something. I sighed. Come on, you wouldn't be going around town in your uniform then, unless you were planning on attracting the attention of skirt chasers. She replied coolly, Yes, I understand full well that girls from my academy seem to attract characters like that. But I need not worry, for if anyone will be chasing my skirt, it will be you. Me? I said numbly. Indeed, she finished with a nod. Would you please, I retorted with a sigh and a shake of the head, not make such jokes with such a straight face? I mean, come on. I had no idea why she always said and did things to upset me. At times it seemed almost intentional, spiteful. I turned away from her, but I could still feel those eyes of hers on me, drilling right into and through me. That never changed. It seems, I heard her intone, that you and Tuka are not doing so well these days. Murderously blunt. That never changed either. Oh, did she tell you? I muttered. Well, whatever, it isn't really one way or another. But Matsuri just shook her head slowly and firmly. No, she said then with a cynical stare. It is obvious. There's something different about this apartment now, something lived in about it. You've been staying here these days and not at Tuka's, correct? Bullseye, I muttered. But you know, it's not that we had a fight or we're breaking up, nothing like that. It's just that I'm mad for no good reason and I need to stay away from her as I cool down. Is that so? She replied with a hint of incredulity. I shrugged. Yes, it is. Pretty stupid of me, don't you think? I finished with a bitter smile. Matsuri replied emotionlessly, If that's what you believe, then perhaps it is so. I snorted. And what do you think? It is, she paused here for a second before going on, irritating, is it not? That's a pretty irritating response if you ask me, I snort back. Whatever do you mean? You know, both you and I do the same thing, I snorted. We act like we're always telling the truth, but really there's always a loophole somewhere, some emergency exit in case we need it. Emergency? She asked flatly. I sighed. When an unforeseen circumstance arises because of something you said, you always have a backup plan. Some way you can always play dumb or pretend to not know what's going on when you full well intend for your words to hurt. Why, how sharp of you, Matsuri replied with a nod. She almost looked impressed about what I'd just said. You're not making any excuses for yourself, huh? I muttered. Perhaps not, she shot back. Since even the phrase, I do not make excuses for myself, can become the worst kind of excuse. It is a delicate situation. Sometimes when someone sees right through you, when you are found out, excuses are all that your lips can find. I right-clicked. For instance, like a little while ago, I made excuses, did I not? I have no idea what you're talking about, I snapped. Let's just talk about something else. This is just giving me a headache. I gulped down the rest of my soda, went to the kitchen and refilled my cup. Ice cubes had only gotten a little smaller. Well then, I continued as I sat down, I have a single question for you. I made a fist with my right hand and then raised my index finger in order to highlight what I just said. Very well, she replied tonelessly. Why are you here today, anyway? Why do you think I came? Matsuri shot back. Come on, Matsuri, I chided. Don't answer a question with another question. I would seriously like you to think about it, she replied nonchalantly. Who, me? She stared at me coldly. I do not see anyone else around, so yes, you. Besides, I do not think you will need to ponder long on it. Matsuri tossed a thin metal object on the table. It slid through the scattered cigarette ash with a bright rasping sound and clinked against my cup and stopped moving. A familiar-looking key. The duplicate key to this apartment that I'd given her when I first moved in. There wasn't much of a story behind this. How this had all gone down in the first place. So so I remembered almost nothing by now. But this conversation I did remember. You live alone here, yes? Yes, I do. Then would you not consider making me a duplicate key? No problem. That was how this key came into being. Usually, when she came visiting, I wasn't around, so she would drink a cup of tea or two and then leave. Once in a blue moon, I was around, so we'd invariably have this awkward, infuriatingly irritating conversation. Drink a cup of tea or two, and then she'd leave. And every single time, I'd ask her the same question. Why are you here today, anyway? She never used the same answer twice. These things do happen, yes? Because the weather is so nice out. Because midterm exams are over as of today and I wanted to relax. And the last time I frowned because of meds. But this was different. She didn't have an answer for me today. She was asking me for one instead. Abrupt end of music. When she saw that I was not saying anything, she continued. See, you cannot use the fact that we are both friends. We are best friends to explain why I have this key. Best friends do not generally do this. That being the case, what explanation do you have for me? I snorted. Look, I snorted. There's no particular reason why you have to have that key. Her voice was like a knife now. Then it's high time we put an end to this farce. You do remember what I told you when we last met, I should hope, that I had 2 reasons for coming that day. I prized you of only one of those. I nodded curtly, twice. Yeah, and the other was a secret, I replied. She nodded back. Yes, it was. But on this day I shall keep it from you no more. I smirked derisively. What kind of secret is that? You're giving it up way too easily. My, she retorted with sarcasm. How pained your expression. And beneath that surface, how sadistic your heart. Now you're accusing me of being a sadist. Pot calling the kettle black, man, I retorted. But there was no laughter from either of us. Tell me, she finally broke away the uneasy silence. Did you ever tell Tuka that I have a key to your place? I shook my head. No, and what of it? She closed her eyes for a moment and then looked downward. Loud. Ow, my ears. Let us change the subject for a moment, she said sharply. Are you and Tuka lovers? I just nodded. Then what is our relationship exactly? She intoned. I felt like she was attacking me with non sequitur and after non sequitur here. What exactly did she want from me? I couldn't even begin to guess at it, yet somehow it gave me goosebumps. Obviously, I managed after some time we're childhood friends, right? This idiotic, trite, overused phrase came flying out of my mouth with surprising glib ease. Surprisingly, because deep down I was feeling an enormous and alien brand of unrest. Yes, she replied, you are absolutely correct. Bingo, a textbook answer. Thus it could not be further away from the answer for which I had hoped. Really, I muttered. Suddenly the hum of the refrigerator seemed insanely loud. It filled all the silent spaces between Matsuri and me, and made me aware of my awful impatience. Wait, impatience? Me? Why? Now then, Matsuri intoned coldly. Please ask away. About what? I retorted. About the answer for which I had hoped, she replied with glacial calm. The air conditioner really wasn't helping much. It was hot. I was sweating profusely. My shirt was stuck to me. I also right-clicked. No wonder I was in such a bad mood. So I asked, and what use would it be for me to ask such a thing? But Matsuri did not flinch or look away. You would have no escape, Matsuri explained as if she were discussing something insignificant, like weather today. You would have no more emergency exit. I wanted to laugh. So what you're telling me is that nothing good could ever come of it, in other words. No thanks, I'll go without. Now then, Matsuri intoned icily. Please ask away. Yeah, my gut feelings weren't wrong, alright. There was no possible way this could turn out well. I'd never seen anything as clearly as this, as if the conversation had already happened, but was already a memory. But now I had to take part. Now I had to stop right-clicking. Now I had to help it fail, like a moth to the flame, or like a kamikaze to the carrier. Then it is high time we put an end to this farce, she said a while ago. In other words, I was the bad guy, huh? I was the undesirable, huh? Everything was clear. No other way around it, huh? What the hell, man? How the hell did I end up trapped in this mess anyway? Fine, I finally spat, giving up. At last, fine, have it your way. What was the answer you'd hoped for? Why did I feel like this was the only course of action I had left to me? I shouldn't have been feeling this desperate or confined about it. So why? Lovers, came the immediate reply. Don't be silly now, I retorted. But she was having none of that. Please break up with Tuka, she insisted. Didn't you hear me? I replied. I said, don't be silly now. Why the hell are you saying this? Then I do not care whether you break up with her or not. Please make love to me. I gasped. No way. That's impossible and you know it. What's the matter with you? Why are you saying things like this? Because it is no concern of mine whether you are sleeping with Tuka or not. She replied with that same insane calm. I just want you to sleep with me. Yeah. Insane. Calm. Insanely calm and calmly insane. But you're not the kind of man who could two-time a girl without being painfully obvious about it, she continued hopefully. So that is why I asked you to break up with her. Oh, for Christ's sake, I exploded. You have no idea how wrong you are. But Matsuri wasn't about to listen to anything I had to say. She intoned. I want you to take me for as long as I can remember, the day we met, and every single day after that. But we were 5 or 6 years old back then, I yelled. Yes, we were, she replied flatly, and I've always suffered from an abnormally precocious nymphomania. I croaked a weak nymphomania before my jaw hit the floor. Nymphomania, wasn't that a hypersexuality disorder? And on top of that, abnormally precocious nymphomania? My entire world had just become a lot more surreal. Okay, I don't know what that meant. You've got to be kidding me, right? I finally managed. I'm afraid not, she cut in dispassionately. My body has always needed the touch of man, no matter how young or undeveloped I was. You have no idea how painful it was, and is. I've lost count of all the times I just wanted to tackle you, rip off your clothes, forcibly take you inside me. And I asked desperately, trying to buy myself some space to pull myself together. The point of telling me this now is... She again pierced me with the glacial stare. As I said before, it is high time we put an end to this farce. I just sat there without saying anything. I brought the soda to my lips, chugged it down. I crunched on what little ice was left. It seemed like a long time. Then I finally asked the question that was boiling up inside of me. Does it have to be me? Matsuri just nodded in response. Then she explained, all of the parts of me know by instinct. That's creepy. They will refuse to work if it is not with you. They will refuse to give me my pleasure. Okay. To have sex with you is the only purpose my body has. And I cannot care about anything else. She went on incredibly. Yes, I do not deserve to be called a woman. I am a bitch in heat. What the heck is going on? A prostitute, unable to do anything but spread her legs for you and beg to be bred. A whore who cannot see any happiness in her life except having sex with you. Her words were so sharp and self-mutilating, So tell me, Matsuri, how can you utter them so calmly? Every single time I see you, I want you so badly that I lose all sense of myself, she concluded. This was pitiful, and I suppose that thought made me even more pitiful. No, Matsuri was Matsuri, and I was me. My heart had nothing to do with hers. There were no external forces that tied us together. Her circumstances were not mine. The path she walked was not one that led to my heart. That's why I had to say it. I have no intention of getting involved in your circumstances. Oh, she's sad now. No, she got sadder. But Matsuri just stared back at me emotionlessly. On the outside, she looked like she'd just been told it was sunny out or something insignificant like that. But if you look closely, there were tears in her eyes. I thought you would say something like that, she managed after a moment. I did not have to search my memory to know that these were the first tears she'd ever showed me. And perhaps she was telling the truth. That's a new song, I think. Or haven't heard it in a while, at least. Perhaps she had foreseen that I would answer in such a fashion. Perhaps those tears were her way of saying yes, I thought as much. Then a thought that made me sick to my stomach occurred to me. That man had to mean that she'd come here today fully expecting to be rejected like this. And yet she'd come anyway, grasping at straws, living on the slimmest ray of hope. It must have taken an incalculable act of self-slaughter to have allowed herself to hope in that way. I won't tell you I'm sorry, I remarked to her. No matter what you say or do, nothing will change. Because I will judge everything according to my will. Did your relationship with Tuka start out of sympathy for her? She protested in a tear-choked voice. She continued, her voice a bit steadier. Yet you refuse to extend the same sympathy to me. I understand. Very well then. I had no intention of taking the bait. I had already seen so many times how arguments started in this fashion could only end in a futile and ultimately sterile clash of emotions. But this was the end. The end of this hollow relationship we shared, this meaningless childhood friend thing, and everything else besides. And now her voice was tiring. So my bid for happiness has been denied. I've been completely rejected. Now whatever shall I do? I said nothing. I'm gonna end it here. That is super depressing. I feel so bad for Matsuri. Matsuri is honestly, in my opinion, Tomohiro should ditch Tuka and go with Matsuri. But you know, Tuka would then do something extremely drastic. So he's kind of in a lose-lose situation. Tomohiro is. So yeah, I feel bad. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.